Hello everybody, my name is Starrapter. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for Star Wars Thrawn. This is written by legendary Star Wars writer Timothy Zahn. This is his first canon novel, and we have Timothy Zahn, who created it all. He did The Heir to the Empire, which introduced us to one of the most fascinating villains in all of Star Wars. Arguably, he's up there with Darth Vader and the Emperor, and since we see him in canon in Star Wars Rebels Season 3, we now have him in a novel. This is all about his origin, so it's about him starting up, getting into that known galaxy, and trying to make his way to the top of the Empire, trying to gain favor with the Emperor. But we all know how hard it is to navigate through the Empire because most of them are humans. He is alien, so he's getting scrutinized every step of the way, but he is using his skill more than anything to just push him up rather than everybody else who uses people they know and things of that nature. But to help him with that journey, he also pairs up with this translator that is named Eli Vantu, and he is somebody that wants a different kind of position, but he is forced upon Thrawn as his translator to kind of be his aide, and he just further and further goes along with it and becomes comfortable with that. But also there are strong Star Wars Rebels ties because we do have the character of Honda Price, who was in Star Wars Rebels Season 3, and she's kind of more on the politics sides of things, where Thrawn is more on the military sides of things. So they do interact, and they help each other try to rise together into the known galaxy. So I want to talk about the things I liked most about Star Wars Thrawn. First off, right when you open a book, every chapter has a journal of Thrawn, about 3 paragraphs or so starting off every chapter, and it is all from Thrawn's point of view. Obviously, it's his journal, but he talks very, very eloquently about war, about politics, about just life in general, which had some really, really strong meanings. Another thing I want to talk about is Timothy Zahn's writing. There's a reason why everybody loved Heir to the Empire. This guy is a great writer. He adds nuance in this story, so he creates a language called Saibisti, which is basically how Thrawn and Vastu first communicate, which is why, obviously Vastu becomes his translator. So throughout the novel, they have these special words that he creates for the language of Thrawn. And it is really interesting because throughout the novel, he will still have slip-ups because this story takes place over a span of years. So you always have Eli Vastu with Thrawn. Thrawn makes mistakes and Vastu kind of corrects him. But I did like seeing that new language portrayed in this novel. Another thing I really enjoyed was from Thrawn's point of view. He has the red eyes, which are enhanced infrared kind of sight for him. He also has better hearing than humans. So he uses a lot of these analytical skills during conversations to give him a one-up against everyone else that he's trying to defeat. So I really did like how during certain conversations he could really see those things through. So I can't talk about this novel without talking about the Rebels connections it has. So as I mentioned before, Governor Price is one of the main characters, and she is from Lothal. So if you watch Star Wars Rebels, right away you're going to know, wow, this is very connected to Lothal. There's many characters that are mentioned, and you get to see how Lothal becomes such an integral part of Rebels. This pretty much leads right up to where we see Thrawn introduced in Rebels, so definitely some really connective tissue. I did like seeing the hierarchy of the Empire. I liked seeing how Thrawn was continually climbing up the ranks, about how he used his skill rather than knowing people to actually rise up in the Empire, which is something very rare. They did not see that much, where mostly these officers just knew people and they weren't exactly good. And obviously, I can't talk about Thrawn without talking about how great the character Thrawn is. After reading this novel, he is definitely one of my favorite characters of the Star Wars universe. Yeah, he is a bad guy. He's in the Empire, but that doesn't mean he's necessarily, like, evil. He's doing this to basically just rise up in rank. He doesn't actually agree with a lot of things the Empire does, but he just kind of goes along with it, sort of thing. And the battles, wow, the battles, like the tactics that he used throughout the story to his little conflicts, they start out very small and they progressively get larger as the story goes on. He has a certain adversary, which is very interesting because it's a battle of the brains. You got to think of it with Thrawn, like, he is not going to be in the thick of things too much, although we do see that a few times. He is just somebody that's always thinking a couple steps ahead. He is springing traps. He is going out there and taking risks, which is something incredible. And just, seeing how he undoes his plans is just absolutely brilliant. There's a reason why this guy is going up so fast in the Empire, faster than anybody else. Okay, so I'm going to go into my negatives for Star Wars Thrawn. First off, I want to talk about Governor Pryce, and her storyline felt very disjointed, very different from what we were reading with Thrawn. So we were going back one chapter with her, one chapter with Thrawn, and they felt like for at least the first, like, I don't know, quarter or half of the book, they weren't even connected really. So it was like, alright, what's the point of this character? If you didn't watch Star Wars Rebels, then you would have no idea why there was so much focus on this character. And, you know, at the end, yeah, we did see what they were doing, but at first I was like, okay, what's the point of this? It's messing up the pacing. Also, this book, I just will forewarn you guys, there is not too much action in this book, and there are parts that get very slow and kind of feel like, okay, where are we going with this? It is a Thrawn novel. I mean, this is not going to be your Lords of the Sith. This is not going to be your, you know, Battlefront Twilight Company. There aren't going to be humongous battles or gunfights or anything like that, but, you know, that's the nature of this. This is all about somebody who's intellectual. It's about a tactician, so there's going to be a lot of that in here, obviously. And there was a couple moments where there was something teased throughout the novel. I'm being very vague here, so I don't spoil anything. There's a certain legacy character that interacts with Thrawn, and this is teased from the beginning of the novel, and I don't really ever see a payoff for that interaction, so I was a little bit let down with that. However, that being said, this novel does everything you want it to be. For a Thrawn novel, we get to understand where this guy came from, how he rose up in rank so much, some examples of what made him the brilliant man that he is. So with that being said, I'm going to give Thrawn a score of an 8.5 out of 10. This is up there with one of the best canon books out. Definitely pick this up if you're a Thrawn fan. So that is going to do it for my review of Star Wars Thrawn, but I want to know what you guys thought of it, so feel free to leave a comment in that comment section below. Also, during the time of this recording, it is Star Wars Celebration, so I'm going to do my best to upload different things such as trailer reactions and trailer breakdowns, so make sure you are subscribed to this channel so you don't miss any of it. I'm Starrapter, thank you for watching, and bye-bye. So, did you like the video? Then make sure you rate it a thumbs up, and if you did that, go over there, hit that Starrapter head to subscribe to my channel. Doing so will keep you up to speed on all of my latest content, speaking of which you can see a couple of my recent uploads down below. I'm also on social media, so what are you waiting for? Let's start nerding out!